Roger Butler's here with us of I.J. Hicks Jewelers, and it's a real joy to have you today.
Well, it's a real pleasure to be here, and incidentally, I certainly enjoyed your song.
Thank you, Roger, very much.
It looked to me like network quality from right here in Selma.
I'm just a ham, you know, and any opportunity, I don't have to be asked, I just do it.
Well, I am too. I love it.
Thank you, Roger. Roger, there has been a lot of talk about pearls lately, and all the styles go back to the 40s and 50s, and with the ladies with the shoulder pads out. And of course, I've got on a pair of pearls today that belong to Roger Butler's I.J. Hicks Jewelers, and they are gorgeous. What should a person do when they start thinking about buying pearls? How do you start there?
Well, I think that appreciating pearls is very important, and it's something that can be easily done. Not like diamonds. You can learn something about pearls. Go in your jewelry store and ask to see the good ones and the bad ones and the cheap ones and the fine ones and compare.
All right, let me ask you something. Roger, I cannot tell the difference, but I'm sure it's like everything else. Since you and I have been friends a long time, I have learned to appreciate colored stones, diamonds, and you're grinning at me because you know I love jewelry. But
tickle that you have.
But I do know that there is a difference when you learn to look at them. Let's take some of these first. What about this pair, for instance?
Well, I believe that shows how much I know. I believe you have on the $1,400 strand.
What makes these so special?
Well, the thing that makes pearls very valuable is a wet appearance and lack of blemishes, roundness, and well matched. And the most important of those is the luster, which is the wet appearance. Now you'll see that this strand right here has a fabulously wet appearance, which probably would not be visible through the TV system, but it is to us. Now in the middle is a cheaper strand, and there's a pearl there that is not real pretty. It's pretty, but it's not as pretty as all of these pearls are. And all of these pearls are good pearls. I wish I should buy a bad strand so that I can show you. These are medium and super fine. I don't have
but
any
you said earlier when we were talking before the show that you could go all the way up from $150 up to $4,000.
Right.
Why should anybody want to go all the way up to $4,000? I guess it just depends on you.
Yeah. The problem today is that everybody wants a strand of pearl that's nice and long. And the $4,000 pearl would not only be you know, almost waist length, 36-inch strand, but when it's that long, it needs to be big, and the bigger a pearl is, the more it costs. And it's real difficult for an oyster to make a 9mm pearl or something like that, so they're very expensive.
Let me ask you something. Let's look here and see if I've learned anything. This set of pearls looks better than this set.
You are absolutely right. See, now you've already learned to grade pearls.
Because this one has more luster, it shines more,
right,
and it has a more wet appearance, as you were talking about. This is a 30-inch strand. That doesn't seem very long.
That may be...
you don't think that's that long?
May be a mistake on there. Is that 30 inches? Is that 15 inches? That may be a mistake, Jerry.
Okay. These are really beautiful.
Those are about 36, aren't they?
Well, Roger, what about the little rice
pearls? That's just great. Those are cultured pearls that have no seed in it. They're all pearl. And for some reason, they've been able to put a piece of skin from the oyster in the pearl in fresh water. They do this in China and Japan, and it makes a rice-shaped pearl. And they are
you see them everywhere, and they seem to be real popular.
They're beautiful pearls, and they're very inexpensive. And they're crinkly. They're kind of baroque.
But you know, since I have been looking at pearls and admiring them, especially, I can tell a lot of times whether they came from, you know, a department store somewhere or whether they are real pearls. Once you start looking at them, you can really tell the difference.
Well, I think when they're new, it's very hard, but generally your fake pearls will turn yellow in about a year.
Really?
And after 10 or 12 years, they should be discarded, I think.
How do you feel about this new popularity with pearls? Do you like pearls?
Well, yes, I do. I like pearls very much, and I'm delighted. I'm tickled. It's two things that cause pearls to go up in price, and one is pollution The other is, of course, inflation, and maybe the increase in the Japanese yen in value, too. But they are very expensive now compared to what we used to sell them for. But we are selling them, and people want bigger and longer strands.
I do, too. Now, this is pretty. But I'm looking in the monitor, and that is real pretty. I wonder if this strand that's just about the same size.
Now, that is a 30-inch strand there.
I see.
Somehow or other we have the wrong length on that first one. That's a 30-inch.
Those are really pretty. Well, Roger, if you want to, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about silver, good old silver.
Okay.
Okay, be right back. If you've been listening to the radio, the TV, news, or in your newspapers and magazines, you know that the price of silver has really shot way up. Is the price of silver still up, Roger?
Yes, it's up from what it was, say, 15 months ago. It was only $6 an ounce. It jumped up to $50 an ounce. Today it's $22 an ounce. That makes about a little bit over a 3-time increase. However, it's dropped from 50 it was about 8, I think, around November. So it's up and up considerably, but it's not where it was.
People are finding out. I have really, in the last 4 or 5 months, heard more people having the greatest joy finding out what their silver is worth. I don't have a lot of silver. I had a real small wedding and didn't get a lot, but in 20 years ago, people really had big weddings. They didn't cost as much as they do now, and people really got a lot of silver. It was nothing unusual for somebody to get a whole place setting of 12, 24 of their service, and now they're finding out it's very valuable. What should you do if you've got a lot of silver, say $45,000 worth of silver?
Well, $40,000 or $45,000 worth, you might be. I think you'll be all right with the insurance company. You know, you reach a certain figure and the insurance company doesn't want to insure it for that much. They did that at our store. We had to put in Class A safes and burglar alarms when we reach a certain figure. Of course, safes and burglar alarms are kind of awkward in a home. So if you have too much silver, you need to carry some down and put it in the safety deposit box if you're not using it.
You know, I've also heard there's been a problem in banks with not having big enough safety deposit box for people's silver.
Yes, that's the problem, and they run out, too, I think.
Well, what about if you've got your silver insured and you feel pretty safe and you're going to leave it in your home, what should you do and how should you take care of it?
Well, you need to keep silver flatware and anything in silver keepers, silver flatware in a silver chest. And it needs to have tarnish preventative cloth in there. And Pacific cloth used to be the best, and it had sterling silver woven into the fabric of the cloth, and the cloth would tarnish and somehow keep the silver free from tarnish. I don't know why it worked or how it worked, but it did.
A lot of china cabinets are airtight, too, and you can keep your silver in a china cabinet a long time.
That's true. You just put it in behind glass. You see, your enemy on making silver tarnish is streams of air. And the silver can take all of the sulfur out of the air if it's in a relatively tight-fitting compartment. Then there's no more tarnish. But if it's, say you sit it down in front of your air conditioner, it's not the air conditioner that tarnishes it, it's just the fact that it's being blown, that streams of air are passing over it, and it all has new sulfur in it.
All right, a lot of times I have seen people, all right, let me tell you a sad story. My sister, my mother-in-law, had a tea service, and someone cleaned the tea service with Ajax. Doesn't that kill you?
That we can fix that.
I know it can be fixed, but you shouldn't do that.
No, you really shouldn't. And if it's plate, that's worse than if it's sterling. People usually recommend a harsher, a more abrasive silver polish, and Ajax is too abrasive. But you can use a much more abrasive, quicker silver polish with sterling than you can with plate.
But with your silver, you should use a special polish.
Well, yes, if you're using silver plate, we like to recommend Haggerty. And there's another brand that's just as good, and I don't know the name of it, but they are very kind, not too terribly abrasive, and that makes the silver plate last longer. You don't need to worry about it with sterling.
But is it really damaging to silver to not polish it?
Yes, it's worse to not polish it. Now, some people think that it's better to not polish it very often, because when you do polish, you take off just a little bit of silver each time. But if you don't, the tarnish is going to take off more than that.
What is this? Is this one of the...
That's the silver keeper, and that's not Pacific cloth. They've come out with something new. You know, putting the silver in the old Pacific cloth was very expensive, and today it's prohibitive. So we've come out with something new, and this has got zinc or
Why do you
something
mean
in
it's
it.
prohibited?
The cost of making this with silver woven into it would make this bag, you know, $10 or $15. And them putting zinc or some other chemical in it besides silver in it, it's not as bad.
What are the other things you brought here with you?
Well, just to give you something to keep your silver in, we like to recommend a silver storage drawer kit. You can make any drawer in your dining room into a silver chest, and you don't have to pay for an expensive silver chest.
All right, in my buffet, the drawers are extra tight, and they are a silver keeper, so to speak.
Good.
I mean, do some buffets come like that? I mean, obviously they do.
Yes, if you put a little bit of this special cloth in there with it, that'll help too.
Okay.
But it's unbelievable. You can store it for 2 or 3 years and it won't seem to tarnish at all.
Roger, what about having your silver appraised? And you know, do you get somebody special to do that? Do you have to?
Well, I think you do. We have now 3 people in our store that are qualified to do appraisals. And,
But hasn't it been driving you crazy?
well, now that we have 3, it's much
Honestly.
better. I'd rather do anything than appraise. It's like doing a theme when I was in high school and college.
But people will really be surprised at the value of their things, and you do have, suggest that with a lot of silver and a lot of valuables that they do insure it.
Yes.
Or put it up.
Yes, a safety deposit box or insure it. There is a new steel silver chest that's being made. I don't know how to get it for anybody, but it's $350, I believe, and you bolt it down. And that really wouldn't stop a burglar, except that it might cause him a lot of trouble if he didn't have the right tools.
Well, I hope we don't start having a rash of trouble in our area, or like they have in some areas with this problem of...
There's been a little, not as much in Selma.
Maybe we won't have any. Roger, thank you so much for coming today, and I think it's been real interesting, and I wish I had a strand of pearls. Sure you wouldn't give me this just for being on the show?
Well, I just might do that.
I have a thought for the day that I want to share with you, and remind you that tomorrow on Speakeasy, Jane Brewer will be here. We'll be cooking up some chicken recipes. I thought this was a real cute thought for the day. Where did you come from, baby dear? Out of the everywhere into the here? Where did you get those eyes of blue? Out of the skies as I came through. That's our thought for the day. Have a nice, happy day.